Good morning and welcome to the next edition of Prosit Business Consulting Quick Lessons. We're going to focus on 5S, and this is a little different. So we're all locked in from coronavirus and all that stuff, and we tried to do as much remotely as we could. A lot of companies that our client customers couldn't allow us in the building, or they had some restrictions. So what Shane and I thought we would do, Shane will be here shortly, what we thought we would do is create a little home 5S. The principles are the same. We might actually have more discerning customers at home, if you know what I mean. So what we'd like to do is we're going to focus on a particular part of the basement. Everybody's got a basement, all kinds of stuff. Everybody uses their basements differently. They use their spaces differently, just like at work. Operators have their own opinions on how they want their areas to be. And as long as it's their area, they can have some latitude. Shared resources, shared spaces, that's different. What we're going to focus on right now is the basement. You see behind me is a collection of stuff. It might be oddly familiar to you. The contents are different, but the space feels the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this area, and we have storage. And then what we're going to do is we want to make it friendlier, neater, better visual. When you come down, we don't want to hide people away from this. We want to be able to use the space and make it more entertaining, if you will. So what we want to do is make sure we know where things are. We want to know that everything has a place, or as you know, the key tenets in 5S, a place for everything and everything in its place. So we're going to go through here. We're going to go through the typical 5S steps. Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. We're going to create a red tag area. And I'm going to go through all these steps with you. Shane's going to facilitate most of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take care of our customer. Now, our customer at this point is my wife, which means I better do a pretty darn good job. So what we have here is we have storage for Christmas, we have storage for different seasons, and then you see the two white racks. Roughly, that's some stuff I have for my business, but I also have a lot of kitchen things. What you don't see here is totes of crystal and really old family heirloom serving pieces, plates, glasses. We don't have a formal dining room. The china cabinet doesn't exist. So what we'd like to do is take all those pieces that are in totes right now, staying safe. We'd like to be able to use them. They're family heirlooms. They're my wife's grandmothers. So what we'd like to do is use them, but we can't do that if they're all in totes. It's just too clumsy. It's too much work. So we may end up creating some special shelves or special little cabinets just to hold these things so that we can get to them and see them. Another wish that my wife has is she would like to have everything visual, make it easy to see what's there. She likes to go shopping and get what she needs. So sometimes just seeing it triggers something. Oh, I could put that there. I could use this. And if it's tucked away, it's out of sight, out of mind. It doesn't get used. And so she's not using all the things she'd like to use. So we'll make sure we display them. We make sure that we have them out and ready to go. So we'll sort. We're going to do a little bit of an audit first, and we're going to go through the 5S processes.
So here we have a short outline, steps 1, 2, 3, right before we get to the actual 5S event. So first what we want to try and do is establish the area and the scope of the area. So behind me, we can define what area that we're going to be working on, so that way we don't creep into other areas and try and clean them up. Then what we're going to do is create a workplace scan. A workplace scan is just a big poster board with before and after pictures, so it gets built as you're doing the 5S event. Audit is a scorecard for the area itself. The audit score should be low, and then it'll get better and better, and it bases the score on how clean the area is and looks at all 5 of the S's. Usually you have an objective person who wasn't involved in it do the audit, so that way you don't try and give yourself a better score. But in this case, it's just the 3 of us, so one of us will have to do the audit and just be honest with ourselves. Step 3 is defining the red tag area. So all the stuff that you go to sort has to go somewhere, and we don't want to try and go through everything as we touch it. It's time consuming and it doesn't make any sense for continuity. So what we do is we define a specific area that all of the stuff in the area that we're looking at goes to. And what's trash, what you're keeping, what you want to try and fix. So after we define the red tag area, then we're going to actually go do all the 5 S's. Normally, this is a 3 to 5 day event. We're gonna try and condense this as much as possible. The sort part, we go through all the stuff, put it out in the red tag area like I said previously. And once that's done, then you can either do the set in order or the shine. Some people will do set in order first or shine first. It doesn't really matter, but both of them pretty much mean decide where everything is gonna be. Yeah, maybe paint the floor, paint the walls, label everything. Standardizing is when you complete all the labels, maybe you create limits. If you have material that goes on a shelf, maybe you only have so much material, you put lines on it, make sure that only a certain amount of stuff can fit. Nothing should be in question when you walk into the area. If I take something and I want to put it back, I should know exactly where that goes. Then the sustain part, that's when we're going to use our audits. So maybe the team decides you're going to go back into the area to make sure that it's actually being followed. All the standardized stuff is actually standardized. And then maybe you can do another 5S event on the area if you decide that you want to try and change things up. Pretty much our outline that we're going to follow the entire time. It'll be a very tactical attack on this area. All right, so normally how this would work is a client would come out to us and say that they want to do a 5S event. So we go out, visit them, and then we try to define the area that they're talking about. How big is it? How many days? So my wonderful stepmom here would love to work on this area. She said from over here at the heater,
Yep.
all the way over here to the airplanes, right?
That's right.
Okay.
2 walls basically available.
There's some stuff that might be trash we might want to try and get out. And there is also possibly some stuff we might need to borrow over here. There's totes, things like that. Explain what you want to try to use this area for. What's the ultimate goal, or what have you been using it for right now?
So right now there's a lot of things mixed in there. The things that I use mostly are holiday decorations that are
Okay.
some in totes, some not. Kitchen extension,
Okay.
things that don't fit there and just need to be organized better.
Okay.
And then I also have a number of random things. Some are mine, some are not.
Yeah.
And so we need to establish what space I'll use and what space is available for someone else.
Like you said, there's a combination of his things are over here. So what we would do was, in a normal 5S event, we want to make sure that they're aware that what's going on. That way they have an input, so that way their property isn't just being thrown out.
Say, hey EJ, we're gonna move some of your stuff.
Exactly. You're deciding that this is your area, you want to make it in your own way, and if other people are infringing on that, we need to make sure that they know the new rule, but that would be part of our standardized. So Margie, what we're going to do is we're going to build a workplace scan. A workplace scan is we have before, after pictures, and then down here we have the audit and the action item list, and then we can also build in a map of the area if you wanted to. Because there's no actual work getting done here, it's more of a storage area. We take pictures of what it looks like, and we clear everything out, take a picture of that,
Right.
and then when we put everything back in the shine and set in order side of it, we want to take another picture of that. And then we'll post all of it on here, put this around the factory so other people can see this. We might be able to move into other areas. So what we'll do, a quick 1, 2 right here. So this would be before, we got after, and then we can do your audit, and we'll do action items, and then here we'll do the map. The action items could be build shelving, maybe we gotta go buy some of that stuff, maybe we gotta go get a label maker, things like that. So stuff that we can't handle right now,
Okay.
we put it on the list, so that way we don't forget about it, and that way we can still have it.
So adding them up, 4, 8, 12, 15, 19, 21, 22, 24, 28, 34.
The actual empirical number isn't as critical as the story it tells, especially in the very beginning. There's a lot of things that don't relate to our area. You might say, well, how did you end up with a high score there? Well, exactly. If it doesn't relate to the area, you get the full score. What we're trying to do is understand what needs attention, what needs to get worked on. So look for the zeros, the ones, the twos, things like that. So you'll see we have 34. The top score is 100. I've never seen 100. We're not going to focus on any one particular failure. We have so much work to do. We're going to do that first, and then we're going to re-audit and see what the gaps are. And then each week, as we do the audit, or whatever the schedule is that I'm forced to do, we will then come back and take a look at the failures and see what's going on. It could be behavioral. hey, we're not putting stuff away. It could be we didn't plan right during the 5S event and we didn't leave enough room for things and we have to change some things. So the failure doesn't mean that we have a punitive action. What that means is it's another opportunity to go fix things. Either the 5S event made some mistakes, we didn't anticipate some things, there's been some changes to workflow and business flow, there's been changes to inventory we're gonna keep, things we didn't anticipate. But this is a good baseline, it's 34, it's a good start. Let's get to work.